Flash is an impulse light source, not the constant one. In contrast to the constant light, it thus accumulates energy and then releases it in a split of a second. Therefore, while shooting with a flash in the dark, it does not matter what shutter speed we set – 1 second, 2 seconds or 30 seconds. It means that it does not really matter for how long the shutter is opened. The light gets on the camera sensor only from the flash, and it happens very fast. Thus, the image brightness will not change until we change the flash output. During simple outdoors shooting, we have an opportunity to change the brightness of the picture in 3 different ways: by changing the ISO, by changing the aperture, by changing the shutter speed. We have already mentioned before that during shooting with the flash in the darkroom, we lose one of the control parameters, the shutter speed, but instead at the same moment get additional control parameter, the flash output. And today these 2 settings, shutter speed and flash output, will be very important for us. What happens when we take a picture with a flash outdoors? We get 2 different light sources. So let's try to think about them separately. We will use classical scene, man on the background of the evening sky. The main part of the continuous light here comes from the sky, and man is not sufficiently illuminated, so he looks just like a silhouette. We will illuminate this dark silhouette with the flash, and of course our flash output is not powerful enough to light up the sky as well. Thus we get separation. Man is lightened only by the flash, and the sunlight illuminates only the sky. So what should we do first to take a picture? Since we can't light up the sky, presence of the flash does not influence the background brightness at all. Therefore, it is logical to forget about the flash at the beginning of the shooting and even forget about our model. We have to set camera settings in a way to get a desired background, so we have to adjust the shutter speed, aperture and ISO according to our taste. Let's illustrate this as a table. Changes in ISO, aperture and shutter speed lead to changes in the brightness of the picture background. The flash will not be able to influence the background brightness. Now it's time to turn on the flash. When you just begin experiment with the flash, it is very important to use the flash in manual mode when you can change its power by yourself. In our case, we intentionally took the most simple flash. It has only one setting, flash output. Let's now have a look at how the brightness of the model will change when we change the settings. Changing of aperture and ISO will change the brightness of the face. Thus is also true for the flash output. But changing the shutter speed within the range that is typical for such a scene will not affect the brightness of the model, for reasons that we have described at the beginning of the video. By looking at this table, we make an important conclusion. If you only want to change the brightness of the background, change the shutter speed. If you want to change only the brightness of the model, change the flash output. If you want to change both, change the aperture or ISO, or simultaneously change the shutter speed and the flash output. If you have just started by study shooting with the flash, we recommend to use this knowledge while making your first test shots. Otherwise, there is a risk to get lost because in the next videos the topics will be more difficult. We intentionally took a simple scene and for further simplicity agreed that the shutter speed change does not affect the brightness of the face. Usually, the face is still lit with some continuous light, so this light will be visible on the face. Look, it is clear that when the shutter speed is changed, the shadow on the face changed its brightness. In other words, the contrast on the face of the model is changing. Don't forget about this when shooting. You also should remember that the color temperature of the flash and constant light may be different, so might get mixed color lighting on the face. But we will speak about these nuances later. We could now finish our lesson about the flash settings if the camera shutter will have been ideal. But most likely we will encounter additional difficulties that we discuss in the next video. We actually just get close to the interesting part. Next time we will talk about how to shoot with a fast shutter speed while using the flash and what for the high-speed scene is needed.